Hello everyone, I'm Angel Salcido, class of 2021. I'm a sports communications major from Canton, Massachusetts.
And I'm Juliana Bruno, class of 2019. I'm a broadcast journalism major from Albany, New York. We're here with President Lee Pelton to talk about his annual State of the College message. President Pelton, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a real pleasure.
So President Pelton, we understand that Emerson has the largest freshman class in history of the college.
Yes.
What have we done as a college to make Emerson not only an option for your high school students, but a destination?
Well, it's clear that our brand, if I may call it that, our awareness, recognition has grown significantly in the last several years, and obviously that's the demand for an Emerson education has increased. When I arrived here 7 years ago, we were getting about 7,500 applicants per year, and now we're at 13,000. This is for first year, first time students, and if you add in transfer students and second semester, first year students, that number exceeds 14,000.
Wow. So what does accepting more students mean for the college?
Well, it means that there's a broader, there's more diversity in that. You know, it's a broader net, and we thrive on diversity. Diversity sits at the center of what we do. Excellence and diversity go hand in hand. You cannot have academic excellence without diversity. And so I'm very pleased that we've been able to increase our diversity in that period of time as well.
So this is the most diverse freshman class in the college's history, is that correct?
It is. About 27% of the entering class are students of color, and another 16% are international students. So 43% of entering students represent some kind of diversity, both domestic and international, and we're very, very happy about that.
So as a college, Emerson is very selective and expensive for a lot of families.
Yes.
And I understand that increasing scholarships is a priority of yours.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to be able to offer the opportunity for families who who wouldn't be able to afford Emerson, the opportunity to attend?
Right. Well, that's the number one priority for me and for the college right now, is to increase financial aid. Our financial aid relative to some of our peers is on the low end of the side of that. And we have to find ways to fund financial aid. Obviously, we still have some important work to do, and we're going to move forward on that. We cannot do everything that we like to be able to do in a single year, but over a period of time, I think we will get there.
So President Pelton, Emerson offers unique opportunities to study around the world. Can you tell us about a few of those?
Well, of course, we have the best undergraduate study abroad program in the world at our famed Castile Well in the Netherlands. We also believe that as we enter a global world in the 21st century, that our students ought to be engaged globally, not just nationally. And so we're setting up degree programs in Paris, in Switzerland, within the next 2 years, and then after that we hope to set up degree programs in Sydney, Australia, and in Hong Kong. Right now, our students and our faculty are present on 6 of the 7 continents. The only continent where we don't have a program is in Antarctica. And who knows, maybe someday we'll be there as well.
And how does that, from a student's perspective, how does that broaden the student's view of the world and going out into the real world, being able to take different experiences from different parts of the world?
Well, first of all, I believe that intercultural competence is so important in the world in which we live today. We live in a global world. We're interconnected in a way that we weren't 50 years ago, even 30 years ago. Many students will live and work and study outside of the U.S. for some period of their lives, and so we believe that exposure to different cultures and people, cities, and is really important for an Emerson student to be fully educated.
Shifting back to the Boston campus, as a former Little Building resident, it's kind of weird to see the building empty and under construction. Emerson has been buying and renovating property, and students want to know why. So what is your vision for the college?
Yeah. Well, let me speak about the Little Building a little bit, because I think it's not well known. But when I arrived at Emerson, there was scaffolding around the Little Building. So it's been up there for at least a decade, I think. And the issue is that the facade was falling off, and the scaffolding was there to prevent the facade from conking someone in the head who's walking up and down Tremont or Boylston Street. It cost us about $2 million a year just to mitigate the risks associated with the facade falling off. And so structural engineers said, you've got to replace this at some point. And that's what we're doing right now. It is enormously expensive, just enormously expensive. And so our view was, rather than just replacing the exterior, but still having the same facility, that we should go into that little building, restructure it, so that it feels like a new building, and add 280 beds. So that's what we're doing in the little building. I think you will also recall that the dining hall used to be in the little building, so we had to move it out for 2 years, and we looked around to see what it would cost to move it temporarily for 2 years, and that cost was almost the same as building a new dining hall altogether, so that's what we did. And then 2 Boylston Place was to offset the 750 beds that are in the little building somewhat. So that facility is 380 beds. And so when we're done, we will have 660 new beds on campus, and the revenue from that will help to pay for the little building and help to pay for 2 Boylston Street.
President Pelton, moving on to inclusive excellence at Emerson, we spoke earlier about Emerson being so diverse, especially this year and the upcoming years. What does that mean in the classroom for students? What kind of view are they getting with such a diverse student body?
Well, I think, to be really honest, while our students are diverse in a variety of ways, they're probably not that diverse politically.
Yeah.
We are a pretty monolithic place, but we want to ensure that that all points of view, political points of view, ways of seeing the world, are expressed, they're acknowledged in the classroom. This is a real trick for our faculty, and so our faculty go through cultural training in order to be prepared for managing the classroom, if I can call it that. But it's very important.
The college recently held its 3rd annual Teaching on Race. Rachel Kuo was the keynote speaker, and she was incredible.
Yeah.
Why is it important to bring those voices to Emerson every year?
Well, I think it's important for our students and even the larger community to engage with some of the significant issues of the day. Race is one of those issues, but embedded in that is also class. Must be embedded in that. And so having our students and faculty engaged in serious, thoughtful conversations around race, around class, and the implications of both is really paramount for us.
Innovation is one of our core values at
Yes.
Emerson. How is Emerson continuing to advance innovation in our community?
Right. Well, the wonderful thing is innovation with students, with respect to innovation for students, we don't have to do much, because the Emerson students are wonderfully innovative and creative. And oftentimes we're just trying to keep pace with their creative and innovative impulses. On the other hand, the innovation is one of the 5 pillars of excellence, and so we've made investments in innovative programs. The Engagement Lab, which is really a wonderful program that goes into communities and engages communities around issues. We created the Launch program, which will allow students to start their own businesses before they leave Emerson. The E3 program, the Entrepreneur Enterprise program, is also very innovative. So we have a lot of programs like that. In fact, Forbes magazine said that we were one of the most innovative colleges in the nation. I think we ranked in the top 13 or something like that. Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
On a completely different note, I follow you on Instagram, and I've noticed that you have had students over for dinner at your place. How do I get invited?
Well, anybody can come. There's a notice that goes out through various social media channels, and you just have to sign up very quickly because it gets full very quickly.
Okay.
You know, those are some of the, I love those. I love sitting around the table with students, with young people who are so energetic and bright and innovative, as you said. Winston Churchill said that civilization begins at the dining table, and that's where it begins for us in those settings.
So last thoughts here. The college has grown so much in the last years. Since I've been here, it feels like a completely different place.
Yeah.
Where do you see the ceiling for Emerson?
Well, we're going to stay about the same size at the undergraduate level. Don't want to get larger because I think the intimacy, the scale of students to faculty is about right. We don't want to be NYU, we don't want to be Northwestern, we don't want to be Syracuse. Great places, but they're very large places. That's not who we are. We're growing our graduate programs and growing our online programs, and so that's bringing in revenue and so on. So I think the scale is about right, and what we want to do is to make sure that the experiences that students have are richer, they're exciting, they're innovative, they're creative, and as I said earlier, we want to provide all of our students with more resources so that they can attend here without all the anxiety of a lot of student debt and having to work, you know, not one but two jobs, and I know some students, in fact, do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, President Pelton, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
To
you.
learn more, take a look at President Lee Pelton's full State of the College message.